Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated Legacy action. Today we're taking a slight break from December because we just had the Eternal Weekend for Europe and Johan Larsson won it with this Cephalid Breakfast deck, so I thought for our midweek meta deck it would be wrong not to play this deck. So, this is a deck that I have recommended to people for the last couple of Eternal Weekends. I think it's really strong and it's got a lot of resilience. So essentially we are trying to combo with Nomads, en-Kor and Shuko with either Cephalid Illusionist or Nadue. Nadue just gives us loads and loads of card draw, which we can probably string together a win at some point. And then the Cephalid Illusionist, this will mill our whole deck out. We mill our whole deck, the Narcomoebas jump out the graveyard, we dread return, target Thassa's Oracle, and we win. So we can win as early as turn 2 with Nomads plus Cephalid Illusionist. And we have Force of Wills and Dazes to back that up, as well as a small suite of removal spells for problematic permanents, and even a Teferi we can hide behind in some situations. Stringing this all together is a bunch of cantrips as you would expect. We've got a one-off Memory's Journey. The reason for this is if we're under something like a Vexing Bauble, we can mill our whole deck out with the Illusionist, but then use the Memory's Journey to put back the Illusionist into our deck and then just cast it on the following turn, or use the Nadue trigger to draw it and cast it right there. Mana base wise, we've got a couple of green sources here. We've got one Hedge Maze. We've got a Cavern of Souls we can use to have uncounterable wizards, since we are kind of on the wizard train right now. And we have the Urza Saga, which are our tutor for the Shuko, as well as like a mid-range plan that gets us more tokens, which is more creatures for more Nadue activations. Sideboard-wise, what do we have? Well, we've got an orange chant if we need to make sure our opponent isn't going to interfere with us. We've got some graveyard hate here in the form of Soulguide Lantern we can fetch, as well as the Macabres, and we've also got the Vacuum. Again, if we're against control, we need to make sure our stuff resolves. We've got a Cavern and a Teferi we can bring in alongside the Orange Chant. Orange Chant can also be used against some of the combo decks as well. Pin the Needle to shut down stuff like the One Ring. We can tutor it, obviously. A Tamiyo just as a nice little way of getting some more cards going. Some counter spells for combo decks. And a counter spell for Mystic Forge, Eldrazi, and a whole bunch of other things. This card is really good. And yeah, that's the deck. I think this deck is really strong, and one of the reasons why I think that we will eventually see Nadue banned in Legacy. Congratulations once again to Johan Larsson, an absolute staple of Magic Online challenges as well. Nice to see someone taking it down like that. Very impressive feat. With that said and done, please remember to like and subscribe, and if you want to see my videos early for just £1 a month, you can do that on YouTube. And now it's time for breakfast. Right, our opener is a little awkward. We don't really want the Dread Return in our hand. We do have a Brainstorm that we can use to shuffle things away. This means we have to lean out on the Tropical Island so that we can use our fetch land. I think this is okay. Brainstorm does a lot of work, as you well know. If we draw a white source, we can play the Nomads or the Shuko on turn 1. Tamiyo from our opponent, sure. I kind of want to remove this, but we kind of need to work towards our combo as well. So I guess we'll see what we draw and then make some decisions based upon that. A Force of Will. Okay, so Brainstorm is our only blue card right now. So I guess that means we're just playing out the Flooded Strand so we can't get wastelanded here. And if we need to do something, we can. This means we still have Force of Will blue card. And next turn we can play the Tropical Island and shuffle after casting the Brainstorm. We do need to look out for potential Orcish Bowmasters here. Prismatic Vista. So probably on a slower controllier deck. That's usually what Prismatic Vista means. Our opponent getting more cards is obviously a bit of a problem for us, but we're hoping to kind of invalidate them by just doing our thing. This isn't going to be about an attrition game. It's going to be about shoving our thing through and making sure it works. We could get a Meticulous Archive here as well. That is an option, but I don't really want to do that. It's more valuable as a shuffle effect considering we have the Dread Return in hand. So we don't have to fear Orcish Bowmasters this turn cycle because the Prismatic Vista is the only mana they have. Okay, so we have another card we want to put back now. So this is going to be a very powerful Brainstorm. We need this to resolve. Okay, so we get to put back the Dread Return and the Memory's Journey, neither of which we want right now. And then we can crack this. And we probably want a Tundra here. Or do you want a non-wastelander? We don't want to take us off of blue either. I think we just have to hope they don't have the wasteland. So we could play out the Nomads here, which dies this one like a Fatal Push, or we could play out the Shuko, which doesn't, which I think is the correct play here. This gives us redundancy in our combo pieces. Maybe they fight over this. It does tip our hand as to what we're trying to accomplish with our deck. Alright, so we still have Force of Will with a blue card available. We have Cephalid Illusionist next turn. So we can try and string together a win. Our opponent might be on a blue-white. Okay, so they are on blue-black. They're just leaving all their mana up. That's interesting. I wonder if they have something like a Force of Negation in the main deck. Prismatic Vista for slow decks tends to make that more likely. I have to imagine our opponent has numerous basic lands in their deck to be running the Vista. Yeah, there's another island. Do I want to try and play this out into multiple pieces of interaction? No. Okay, so our opponent's tapping out here. Kaito. Okay, so we could be looking at a Grixis control deck. They tend to have Kaito in them. It could just be blue-black, but this doesn't bother me. So they probably draw a card with the Kaito here because we're threatening a combo. Kaito is a little bit tricky for us to deal with in our deck because it always has hexproof when it's a creature. Right, so getting to Surveil 2, let's see where they put these. Hopefully they'll put them both on the bottom, so they're drawing a random card rather than one they want. Okay, Iron and Brainstorm. So they put them to the graveyard, not into the bottom. Alright, so drew a random card this turn. A Daze would be a good draw here. We did not find a Daze. So we don't get to play around an opposing Daze here. Let's play out this Hedge Maze and see what top card of our library is. Would I like to draw another land next turn if this doesn't work? I think so. Because then it allows us to do Brainstorm with fetching. No, we just put it in the graveyard, I think. Let's just go for the combo right now with Force of Will protection. Our opponent needs to have 2 pieces of interaction. I don't believe their deck has Dazes in. Generally speaking, when you have these Prismatic Vista style decks, they tend not to have Daze. Force of Will, pitching a Brainstorm. Let's also do a Force of Will, pitching a Brainstorm. You got another one? No. Alright, let's do the Cephalid Illusionist thing. So our opponent's going to let us show them their whole deck. Show them our whole deck. Alright, no, they're not, and they're just scooping it up. Okay, so we're on some sort of control deck, which means we're going to want the Teferi. And we're probably going to want the Cavern of Souls. And it probably means we want access to this orange chant as just another way of forcing through our combo. So these things look pretty good. I think the Tamiyo is interesting here because you want to develop some card advantage and give our opponents something else to worry about. So these are the things I'm most interested in here. So we've seen Tamiyo from our opponent, which does suggest to me that some amount of removal is what we want in our deck. So I like the Prismatic Ending slightly more because we can let the Tamiyo flip and then draw an answer to it, whereas the Plow isn't so good for that. So I'm more tempted to get rid of these Plows. That still leaves us needing one more card to cut. We could cut a Daze since they're not very good on the draw, respectively. We're trying to win with Cavern of Souls. I guess we could cut both Dazes and keep one Plow in. I think we do still need the Forces, though. Alright, I think this looks reasonable to me. We're going up on mana overall by adding in the Cavern and not taking out another land. That could be wrong, but I like having access to hitting our land drops in a matchup like this, where I need to make sure I can play around as much as possible. Well, that's certainly a Magic the Gathering hand, isn't it? This is a turn 2 combo with... Wow, we don't actually fully combo, do we, is the thing? Because the Thassa's Oracle is in hand. That is an interesting proposition. I still think we keep a hand that looks like this. So I think the plan might actually be to Nomads into Illusionist, and then get the Nadu in, and then win with the Nadu plan. Our list does only have the single Thassa's Oracle, so we need to be aware of that. Okay, I'm just going to play out this Nomads right now. We can pitch our Cephalid Illusionist to a Force of Will. Is this what we're pitching to save? Okay, they didn't want to do it. So maybe we have to save this from removal? We shall see. So an Orcish Bowmasters would be a pretty good ping here. I think we probably do counterspell an Orcish Bowmasters given the opportunity, because that is also going to jam us up with some other spells down the track. There it is. We have a spare Illusionist, so it can go. I'm going to get my 1 point of damage in first. Play this, name Wizard. See, this used to be a Cephalid Wizard, but now it's an Octopus Wizard. As the Magic Boomer I am, I don't like that. Illusionist? The dream here is that our opponent scoops. Okay, good. Because we have the Oracle in hand, we don't win this turn, but our opponent doesn't know that. So, if you're in a high-stakes game, you should always make your opponent play it out. You get to see how they've sideboarded, which might be useful if you play them later on in the tournament, but also you get to see how their hand actually wins, because they might be having a Thassa's Oracle in hand, And because it doesn't play Cabal Therapy in this deck anymore, we can't take the Oracle out of our hand. So we need to mill ourselves a bit, and then we play the Oracle next turn. Anyway, that's a pretty quick match there. Let's go to the second one. Alright, we're on the play. We get to play on basics. Yeah, this is good. I'll keep this. Let's go and find our basic island. We'll worry about the green for the Nadu later. I just don't want to get wasted. We can ponder here. We can always use the Nadu to pitch to our Force of Will if that's what we want. I like the ponder, but I don't want to draw through 2 lands. Is that true? I don't mind having 1 land, actually. So if we go, put this Misty in hand on top, then we can draw the land for next turn, so we have our Nadu locked and loaded for later. And we can shuffle that other land off the top and then cast our ponder. Alternatively, we could ponder seeing 1 new card, seeing 1 old card, and see if we prefer the other 2 cards. But we do get to see potentially 4 new cards if we shuffle first. So we need to make that decision this turn. So if we fetch here, we probably want a Savannah. It's kind of a tough call. I think because we don't know if we're going to want, because we want a Savannah so that we have access to Plow and Nadu, but we don't want to crack this right away in case our opponent has a wasteland. So I think I'm going to ponder first. So we're seeing 1 fewer cards. All right, this is an any organ shuffle. Okay, so now we can sit here holding up a Plow for one of their creatures. We do need to find one of our combo pieces. But we've got removal for their first creature and their second creature, and we've got a Force of Will, which may or may not be useful depending on how our opponent has their draw, because they could have something like a Cavern of Souls. Alright, we've got a Once Upon a Time, Sowing Microspawn. God, I hate that card. Alright, so we're getting Sowing Microspawn right now. I'm a big lover of that for us. Oh, have they got enough to kick it as well? Oh, they do. Well, that's gross, isn't it? This probably gets them a... No, it's probably... Oh, they're getting Ancient Tomb. Okay, so they're going to deploy another card as well this turn. So they're holding up for a Kozilek's Command. I think we need the Surveil here. No, that's not true, is it? We want to have basics for the wastelands in our opponent's deck. I think I'm going to leave this incorrect. A Brainstorm. Okay. Do we have any basics left? I can't remember if we have 2 or 1 island in our deck. Just the 1 anyway. Okay. So we probably want a Trop here, or do you want the Tundra? Because you don't want to get wasted off of white. Because we need that to stay alive. Yeah, I think it's a Tundra here. Let's Brainstorm on the go. Because the Nadu can always just be pitched to the Force. Okay. I do not require this Memories Journey. And I don't think we need this additional Force of Will. Let's Windswept Heath out. So we can take a little bit of damage from this Sowing Microspawn. It's going to be a Kozilek's Command. I don't think I care enough about this. I think I'd rather care about something like a Thought-Knot Seer or something big that can actually just win the game against us. Because we can take 3 for a few turns, that's not an issue. Problem is, if they have more Sowing Microspawns, that really sucks for us. Because the next one is going to be double Wasteland. And that's going to be a problem. A Vexing Bauble. Okay, let me let that go. I'm not spending 2 cards on that. A Grim Monolith. Okay, I'm going to go and fetch the Hedge Maze, I think, here. We're looking for... Like, Nomads doesn't win it because of the Vexing Bauble right now. Okay, so we can get rid of the Vexing Bauble here. We can draw a card from it, but then it does turn on our Force of Will again. Yep, I get a card, as expected. But that turns on our win again. So we've got a Force of Will and a Source to Plowshares. We've got a fair few draw steps left, given what our opponent has in play right now. That can obviously change at relatively short notice, given the power of the creatures in their deck. Glaring Fleshacre is pretty bananas. Now this is something I am not a fan of, because they're going to go and get another Sowing Microspawn, and they're going to double Strip Minus. Not a fan of this one. I think we have to plough this guy just to buy us some more time to draw more lands. But yeah, this is a disaster. I don't think we counterspell this because we need the Illusionist here. Yep, so we're going to lose the Hedge Maze, or it's probably the Tundra here actually. Yeah, I probably chose correctly, I think. So we need to draw Nomads and a land somewhere along the lines. Yeah, so the way the Eldrazi deck beats you isn't so much just stomping you down, it's just this card is so scary. Now, we had a lot of turns where we could have hit our combo and won the game. We just didn't get there. Grim Monolith. Right, we go to 11. A Brainstorm. Well, we're certainly going to give that a go. Let's see what the future holds. Oh no, we're Brainstorm locked here. So we put these two back. We take 3. Then we take 3 again. Okay. Not a lover of what I'm seeing here. So I guess we put back the Nomads and the Plow since we can't cast those and they're not blue cards for Force of Will. Okay, so if the card after that is a land, then we might be okay. But this relies on our opponent not doing anything. Are they just going to go get a giant spooky friend, another Sowing Microspawn? Yeah, we're not beating that. Okay, that was a bit rough. Let's have a look at our sideboard. So, Consign to Memory seems pretty darn useful, I would say. Pithing Needle on Wasteland is something I'm not opposed to having for this matchup. The Teferi can stop our opponent's stuff, but I don't think that's where I want to be. Like stopping their Kozilek's command, I don't think that's where I want to be. I think I'd rather have a Plow just to make sure we don't die to their stuff. I don't know what graveyard hate they have. It's probably going to be Faerie Macabres, which aren't that big of a deal for us. How useful do I think Daze is going to be here? Like, their deck does produce a lot of mana. I'm not sure about the Dazes here. I don't mind the Teferi though, because it can bounce out the Vexing Bauble and just let us go. The Force of Will is kind of awkward. I want some in the deck, because when you start ripping with Nadu, it's a nice thing to be able to draw into. So we definitely want our removal. Do we need? Maybe we don't need this Pithing Needle. And that's because 61 cards. We need one more cut here. Did Nadu? I think Nadu is pretty strong though, because we can outpace the card loss that we are taking from something like a Sowing Microspawn. I could cut one more Force. I don't like that too much. I don't really want to cut the combo pieces because we do need to combo in this game. Maybe it's a Ponder. We just don't have time to be doing all the pondering stuff. We want to be holding open Consign anyway. Let's try that. Okay. I can play with this. We've got Consign that we can hold up. I don't really want to have to consign something on turn 1, but I also don't want to get wastelanded on turn 1, so we're playing out the fetch land because this covers our bases against worst case scenario a little bit better. A Vexing Bauble. Is this the thing I care about? I think it is. So we probably want to go and get... It's probably just another Tundra at this point. I hate that we have to do this, but... Because that also impacts our combo. So we can't just rip and Dread Return. Alright, let's play out the Illusionist. Put the Fear of God into them. We do have the win next turn, and we can Brainstorm for some interaction as well. Cavern of Souls. Do you want to tap out this turn, opponent? A Grim Monolith. Intriguing. Nomads en-Kor. Do you have an answer? They did not have an answer. I will. Brainstorm. Then we can at least shuffle some cards away if we don't like what we see. Right, we can go again, so put these away. I'm kind of reluctant. We can't win the game this turn. We could win the game this turn, but if we expect our opponent to have a Faerie Macabre, we can't. So I think it's worth playing around the Faerie Macabre since we have the ability to send it again anyway. It's going to be a Kozilek's command killing our Nomads. It is. That is interesting to me. Like we have the combo rolled up again, so we just let that go for now. I don't want to just rip into a Faerie Macabre. If we wait till we get access to a green mana, so we're kind of punished for getting a second Tundra rather than a Trop there. If we get Wasteland, I'll be very grateful. So our opponent going to assume they've beaten our combo side and just rip here. 4 mana. Thought Not Seer, that'd be very good. Kozilek's command. Right, so that mills the Dread Return. So now we can't play around it anyway, because they can always remove the Dread Return. I guess we can still Memory's Journey. Okay. Oh dear. Have we let this one go in a way that we didn't need to? Right, I'm going to play out this Cephalid Illusionist. It feels like we should be able to play around Faerie Macabre here. So we need any land that comes in untapped, and then we can Memory's Journey on the hard cast. Glaring Fleshraker. Sure, that card is a fine Magic the Gathering card. I hope our opponent can't just win. They've already used 2 Oh, that's kind of Blade of the Bloodchief. What does this do? Whenever a creature dies, put a +1/+1 on a quick creature. Okay, I see. This is pretty good with the old Glaring Fleshraker. How much does this cost to equip, sorry? 1. What's this? Basking Brisket. Yeah, our opponent's got a pretty interesting brew there. Within the space of Eldrazi. On 16. Sure. If you play out your whole hand, that works for me. Right, they're just equipping on the Brood Scale. Is this got some sort of weird combo that I don't know about? Whenever one or more +1/+1 cards are put on Brood Scale, you may create a color. Oh, okay. This is a combo. So every time I sacrifice a creature, it makes a spawn. And every time, whenever... Okay, so this puts counters on this, and then it creates this. Yeah, this is just a loop. Yeah, they got us. Maybe we're supposed to go for it there, and they didn't have the Faerie Macabre. But they just didn't have anything going, so I thought we had time, but clearly we didn't. I've never seen this version of Eldrazi. I don't know if I've even seen this card before. Alright, let's go to round 3. That one might have been on me. We maybe should have just tried to let rip and see if it worked. Alright, I don't like I have this. It's just too many lands, so we're going to mulligan this. Alright, this doesn't take much to beat bananas. We can keep this, and we can put the Oracle on the bottom. Ancient Tomb, Chalice of the Void, ruin our day. It is the Chalice of the Void, so we do have to answer this one. We've kind of tipped our hand already because we exiled a Narcomoeba. But having multiple Illusionists is better. We don't need all the Narcomoebas because we have creatures we're playing out. Alright. Let's get this down in case I have another Chalice for 1. Let's just see if we can straight line through to the combo. A Lotus Petal. So that's what they drew for the turn. Most likely. They might have kept it in hand, to be fair, to save from things like Prismatic Ending. Getting Eldrazi here due to the Chalice. We tend to see the Chalice in Eldrazi because it shuts off the removal, which is what the Eldrazi tends to want to ignore. Okay, so we're going to lose our poor little Nomads. Okay, I think we're going to get a... I kind of want to get a Trop so that we can play the Nadu if it happens, but I don't want to get wasted off of white. I don't want to get wasted off of white, and I don't want to get wasted off of blue, so we have to get a blue land. I think it's a Tundra here. We're just trying to draw into the Nomads. Cavern of Souls, naming Eldrazi, most likely. There it is. We can get Brood Scale comboed again. Okay, we're going to lose both of our lands. I think we can call that a day there. Yikes. Not liking this Eldrazi matchup. So what did we do last time? Are we supposed to board in a land just to help with our land count? Maybe. That's an interesting thought. Possibly the Pithing Needle. I like the Teferi still. I like the Plow. And we want the Consigns. So what did we do last time? On the play, do we want the Dazes? I don't know. Dazes feels really bad against Eldrazi. All these spawns kicking around. Maybe the Nadu is a little too expensive for this game. It's going to be kind of short potentially. We just have the extra Cavern in. Because the main way they're going to win this game is by messing with our mana. Because our combo goes underneath them. Okay, after mulligan this has got no lands. We got some removal spells, and we can play an Urza Saga game. I think I'm okay with that. Get rid of the Misty here. Well, our opponent's mulligan to 5, so they're probably looking for Graveyard Hate. Alright, let's get this Nomads up and running. If our opponent spends time killing our Nomads, that's time they're not deploying anything. And I don't think we're in the position to just hold stuff in hand. This is awkward. I would very much like to have my Consign to memory up. I think that means we have to play out the Flooded Strand and just do our due diligence there. I did want to get the Urza Saga ticking, but I think not getting Plow undered is probably important. Iavugin. Okay, I don't want to crack this Flooded Strand because it's our only blue source right now. Let's get the Saga on the go. So if we're doing a Saga beatdown plan, we do want every point of damage that our little Nomads can get us. We would like to exile our creature. I can get this basic island. I don't think I care enough about this one. Like, we're not doing the Nomads thing. We've got Shuko coming from the Urza Saga in a few turns anyway. So I think we just let this go. Because I'd much rather stop something like a Sowing Micro Spawn. Alright, so their Eldrazi are going to be uncounterable. We can still counter their triggers though. White mana. A Thought Not Seer. Do I care about this one? Obviously we can't counter it, we're just working about the trigger. I don't think we do. I think we just plow. We have 2 plows, so we're just going to let this connect and then we'll plow. We don't want them to see the new card we draw. And we could be playing a Fleshraker here as well. Consign. And let that mana burn off. Let's draw a card. Swords 2 Plowshares. Ooh. Do we brainstorm now? Or do we brainstorm? Because we only have 1 blue source, I want to brainstorm now. Because it means we're more likely to hold up the things we require. Okay, so we have a route to the combo soon. So next turn this goes up to 2. So I want to put this one furthest down so they can't take it out of our hand. It does mean we're giving up on Force of Will. But we're playing around. We draw this, this goes up to 2. Then we draw the next card, it goes up to 3. And then we shuffle. Yeah. This is going to make the Force of Will look a bit bad. I'd rather just protect from... Because they have an Eldrazi Cavern anyway, so the Force of Will is already looking bad. And this way we can play around the Thought Not Seer. It does hurt against things like K Command, which they clearly have over there. Oh, so much life as well. So, I could try and go for the combo now when they clearly have Kozilek's Command mana up. I don't think that's what I want to do. I think I want to just make another token here and pressure our opponent that way. Get up Shuko. Equip to this little guy. So this is now an Eldrazi-sized creature. It's going to trade with Eldrazi's. Are they going to burn a K command on our construct here? Or are they just going to make a bunch of spawn? See, look, this is the exact play I wanted our opponent to do. Waste their K command. So K command can't be made uncountable with Cavern because Cavern specifically states creature spells. So if we draw another blue card, then we can attempt the combo with Force of Will backup for their removal spell. That's what our plan is for next turn. This is where they just blow up both of our lands. Well, they can only blow up one, I guess. He's got another K command over there. So we have a land. Let's equip this to our friend and see if we can get another K command out of our opponent here. I said no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they don't have enough to activate either. What are they doing? It has to be a K command, surely. So playing out this Illusionist doesn't feel very strong. Like, what would they have in hand? They did keep one on top. They know K command is good in this situation. But the problem is, if I let them have another turn, how disastrous is that for us? I think we just have to let it go. Our opponent's clearly telegraphing a K command over there. They didn't want to fire off at end step. They fired the last one off because they had... this blast zone is a pain, isn't it? I'm not a fan of that one. Let's go and get the Hedge Maze. Thassa's Oracle. I don't want you in my hand. So you can put it into the graveyard. So they have the blast zone. They can just fire this off and take out everything, take out our Shuko so we don't get to combo. That's really frustrating. I think we're in a horrible situation with passing again. Maybe we're going to end up doing weird construct beatdown all the way. A big Kozilek's Command for 7. Our opponents basically get to do whatever they want now. This is a problem. But I don't think we can get rid of our Illusionist here. We can still draw a Nomad or something. So we could play the Illusionist, activate the Shuko, they crack the Blast Zone, we play the Nomads. Pretty viable strategy out of it. Okay, so they only wanted one of the cards on top. That's something, I guess. I don't feel very good about this one. I believe that the Breakfast matchup against Eldrazi is pretty good. I think it's probably in the region of about 55% in favour of the Breakfast deck. However, that's still 45% of the games you're going to lose. And we're certainly running into them today. I think the last round where we just weren't expecting the Brood Scale combo, we have the ending for that. That's okay, but irritating. So now they can crack the Blast Zone, take out our Shuko, and know they won't come back. Because we can't cast any other 1-drops at present. Right, they're tutoring. This is horrible. Thought Not Seer. That's horrible too. Fleshraker. This Fleshraker is counterable, but we'd have to give up our Cephalid Illusionist. Are we losing our Cephalid Illusionist anyway? because they're about to hit us with a... Yeah, they're about to hit us with a Thought-Knots there. I guess it could take the ending, but that doesn't work well for us either. So let's think this through. If they take the ending, then we can play the Illusionist, they crack this, we can Prismatic Ending this, and then we're still having to deal. I think it feels really hard to win. Alright. I'm going to take out this Flesh Raker. So they're going to Thought-Knots here and take our ending now. Yep, goodbye. One spell we can cast. And a Wasteland to boot. Let's get this Archive. Need to find something. Not another Swords to Plowshares. That can go into the graveyard, please. Another land. We don't have any more Surveil lands, so we check. No, just a 2. There's no point holding it for Brainstorm because we can't Brainstorm right now. We have multiple things before having the ability to Brainstorm. I think we've lost this one. Back-to-back losses to Eldrazi. Unfortunate. So our opponent could just Ayavugan up something every turn now. Double Wastelands. Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, we'll take 4. Maybe we can pressure this Ancient Tomb that they've got a little bit. I can make this into a 1-1 by cracking their Blast Zone anytime. Right, we'll hang this out and get Wastelanded. The only way is right through, I guess. But yeah, they're going to go get Stone Micah Spawn. Unless they've got something even stronger. I don't know if they've got any like big top end like Ulamog. It's just a Stone Micah Spawn, which is kind of just like Ulamog a lot of the time. It blows up 2 permanents on your opponent's side. Just a little 6 mana Ulamog. Yep, so they're going to take out 2 of our lands. And then they're going to take out another 2 lands. They should exile our basics rather, because they have the wastelands. They should probably just exile our basics because now one of these wastelands doesn't get to hit anything. But they do put us down pretty far on mana. We take 4 here. Next turn we take 7. I don't know if there's any way out of this one, I'm afraid. I guess we could play Nadu and maybe our opponent doesn't crack their Blast Zone. No, we just got a land here. I think we're done. Oh dear, oh dear. That did not go so well. Maybe there's a different sideboarding strategy we're supposed to do, but I don't know. Felt like we had the right tools. Just our opponent's tools lined up better against what we were doing. Because they had this K command really obviously that meant that we couldn't go. A bit tricky. We just needed like 1 more blue card or something. Alright, let's go to round 4. Okay, we have a turn 2 combo with Daze backup. Sign me up. Not bad on the play. And we can do it off of basics so that we don't get wasted off of it either. And if this doesn't work, we have a Saga down the stretch. Let's go and get ourselves a little... Actually, no, we have to get the Tundra here if we want the Daze to be live, don't we? Alright, let's get the Tundra. Daze will take us back a turn from our combo, but that's fine. Could see something like a Fatal Push or a Thoughtseize here, which can mess with us a little bit. I think I will protect ourselves. Means we don't get to go off straight away. So we got another delay. That's okay. So we could start getting the Urza Saga running if we wanted to. Or we could get this Hedge Maze down and just get the Surveil going in case we can dig towards a counter spell for next turn. Alright, opponent. You got a turn. We now have 2 things to combo with our Nomads as well. Fatal Push. Okay, so now we want to get our Saga running. We could play out the Illusionist in case we draw the right piece next turn, but if we draw the right piece next turn we can just play it anyway, so there's no need. The only thing we'd be doing is preventing ourselves getting Thoughtseized. It does give us more permanence in play for if we're doing Nadu things, but we can play it around a Daze, or we can just churn out some constructs and hope that does something. So our opponent's on a fairer build, which the Fatal Pushes tend to suggest. Then we can grind a decent amount of value out of these Sagas. Oh, what buy you? We on some sort of bug beans? It's a frog. Frog has entered. It's got a Nomads. We'll just keep jamming because we can just keep jamming all the live long day with our hand. Have we got Daze? No, it's a Force. I'll take a 2 for 1 when we just get to rip with our Nadu next turn. If they kill our Nomads, we still get to rip with Nadu just for less because we won't have as many creatures in play. But Nadu card advantage is more than Frog card advantage. but frog is a thing that independently does on its own and is a bigger win condition. Right, we're getting cut. Our opponent's got 2 cards left in hand. They're about to go up to 3 when they hit us with the frog. But we've got Urza Saga coming off. We could make a construct here if we want to take things a touch slower. But taking things slower when your opponent's drawing extra cards doesn't feel like a winning strategy to me. Okay, so we're probably not seeing a force of will from our opponent if they're playing something this turn. Unless it's a beanstalk. It's a Murktide. A little murky friend. Okay, so the only counter magic they can have here is Daze, and we can play around that. Now we don't get to draw as many cards as I would like. We'll see what we draw, because it might change things slightly. Swords 2 Plowshares. Okay. I'm okay with that. So let's go and get this Shuko. Let's play this. Let's crack this. Let's go and get another Tundra is fine. So green and blue. And we can equip it onto our Nadu. So I'm more worried about their 6/6 or their Psychic Frog. They don't have enough cards to make the Psychic Frog large. They're just going to hit the Murktide now that we can play around a Daze. Okay, I feel relatively in control. So they can make their frog a 3/4, but we have a 4/4. A Baleful Strix. Okay, that doesn't change the size of the frog, but it is a useful game object for sure. Please don't kill my Nadu. Up the beanstalk, sure. Swamp. So we've got a Meticulous Archive we can dig out now. Just try and find our way towards another creature of any description is fine here. Alright, let's just skip it up. They don't want to mess with Nadu, and I don't blame them. That card is miserable. Okay. Cavern of Souls, Teferi, Orange Chant, Plow. These things seem pretty good here. I don't mind the Tamiyo as an option here. It's another creature. It's something that our opponent has to respect and interact with. I don't think I want forces here. I don't want to be pitching 2-for-1s against the deck that's designed to just sort of tempo us out. So I think we'll take out one ending here. So we've still got the flexible ending, and this works, I think. All right, we've got this 10-1 Tamiyo. And keep this one. We have to fetch a Tundra though, so we are a little bit exposed to a wasteland. But Tamiyo is a pretty important game object. Now they've played this, do I want to actually play the Tamiyo out into potential fatal push? We could just ponder here instead. I think I like that more now they're holding up the mana. So this gets us a Tundra. In comes the ponder. We'd like to see some more land here. More land, and an Illusionist is fine. We can do something with that later on. I think the land is more important than either of these other cards right now. So I think we're going to go Illusionist on the bottom, then the Rainforest, and then we'll put the Savannah in our hand. We're just going to take this a little bit slowly, use our Teferi. We could just play Nadu as a perfectly fine magic card that our opponent has to respect. Yeah, so because we didn't play into a failed push, our opponent does get to surveil on us. They left a card on top. Green, it's going to be a beanstalk, isn't it? Sure. This could definitely get out of hand. But now we have a turn to play the Tamiyo where if our opponent wants to interact with it, they're going to have to do it on their turn. So the top card of our library is a Cephalid Illusionist. So I would like the ability to have that card. So we're just going to play out this Saga this turn and drop the Tamiyo around a Daze. Because these Bug Beans decks tend to run like 2 to 3 copies of Daze. Right, ponder from our opponent. You see something like a frog here perhaps. Just a Baleful Strix, okay. That is awkward for our poor little Tamiyo. But we could flip the Tamiyo and start messing with our opponent that way. How much does our opponent want us to have a Tamiyo here? Okay, so we'll attack and get our clue. This is a very telegraphed Brainstorm. So block, and then we will cast this Brainstorm that our opponent is certainly going to preempt. But if they want to spend any counter magic on that, it's not hitting our combo. And we've already got a card out of the Tamiyo. Okay, so we don't want this Shuko. And we don't want this Narcomoeba. So we flip Tamiyo. We go to our main phase. We plus the Tamiyo. We can crack this right now if we want to. We don't need to crack it right now though, do we? If we crack it now, we can play the Cephalid, but it's into Daze. So I think we're just going to crack it in our opponent's turn and use our clue. And if our opponent has a wasteland, then we can have more information about what we're... Okay, Okay, I'm going to say what we're going to be fetching. Okay, let's fetch. Let's just cut off our route to the combo, actually. We've already got a green source in hand. I'm just going to get another Tundra here. This could be playing into a Bowmasters. It did not play into a Bowmasters, good. So the Baleful Strix can't hurt our Tamiyo. We've got a removal spell for their creature if they have one that's large enough to hurt the Tamiyo. Oh, these Beanstalks though, they are adding up. Our opponent is going to be able to draw large quantities of their deck in this game. Obviously, if we can stick a Nadu, we can do similar things. And we have this Tamiyo ready to rock and roll. Okay, I'm interested in a Brainstorm here, while our opponent doesn't have Orcish Bowmaster's mana. We already have one card we want to put back in the Memory's Journey. Okay, Memory's Journey can go back. I'll put this Ponder back. I'll play out this as a Saga, get that ticking. And I'll cast this Ponder to shuffle away those cards on top. So pretty good turn for us. We have Teferi, which is just a must answer card for our opponent, but we want to play around a Daze. Polluted Delta. Cracking of the Delta. Big Murktide Region. So that is a card that we need to source to Plowshares. So we can use a Tamiyo to get back the source to Plowshares. We fire it and it doesn't work. But we'll see. Our opponent's hand must be pretty stacked at this point. It's full of cards. They've had a decent amount of manipulation as well. Memory's Journey. It came back again. I think I will try and plow this Murktide. This is something our opponent probably has to fight over. Oh no, they didn't. Interesting. So now we can just plus this Tamiyo and it can pop next turn. Our opponent just let that resolve. Let's play this Nadu. If they try and answer this with removal, we get 3 cards out of it. We have additional copies of Nadu, so it's fine just to test. But our opponent needs to deal with this Tamiyo right now. I'm not sure what ways they have of actually dealing with it. They could have like Assassin's Trophy or Abrupt Decays, but the Bugbeans deck tend not to run that sort of stuff. They could have an Orcish Bowmaster. That could be their solution. Petty Theft. Okay, that's reasonable. But we have the access to Nadu and Cephalid Illusionist next turn. So you tap out opponent. They can't attack us for 1 because the Tamiyo trigger will still be there, even though Tamiyo's not there. It puts a delayed trigger on the stack. Let's cast, I think it's the Teferi here. Okay, so we get to win the game. Alright, we managed to win that game, puzzling through with our Teferi and stuff. We kind of baited our opponent with various things until we got to the stage where we could do what we needed to. So even though our opponent had double Beanstalk running, we managed to get through it. Very nice. Let's go to the final round. We're currently 2-2. We had a bit of a bad run against an Eldrazi, but let's see if we can put positive on the board. Alright, we're on the play. We have a turn 2 combo if we want it. I will take you up on that offer. Our opponent is known for playing show and tell style decks, but I have played them and they have played other things in the past, so we can't just tunnel vision on that. I think we'd probably play out the Saga here. So we go Saga, Shuko, because we have the Cavern of Souls for the Illusionist anyway. This way we just have a redundant Shuko in the future if we need it. Scoring turn. Probably going to see a Ponder or a Brainstorm. Most likely a Ponder. There it is. With the beautiful old art frame. I do love the retro frame. Well, I prefer the original art from Norwin. Wizard, please. Is our opponent scoping to this? This can't be countered because we have the Cavern. Alright. We've all done it. So, I think our opponent is on Sneak and Show, which means I think I want these Force of Negations. The Cavern of Souls seems good since they're trying to counter our stuff. Same with the Teferi. I don't know about the Orange Chant. I don't think we want a lot of our removal spells. Now they might have, what's it called? Vexing Bauble. So that's something for us to consider keeping these Prismatic Endings in for. I don't mind Tamiyo here, just as a way that we can play something and just start dragging the game out a little bit. They're not going to mess with our mana base that much. They might have a Blood Moon. I'm kind of tempted to get rid of her as a Saga for that. Maybe we'll get rid of Misty Rainforest in favour of this Cavern. And then we have 2 more cuts if you want all of these things in. Nadu, possibly a little expensive, so we can trim on that. And do we need all of these things? Maybe we want the orange chant just to protect our combo turn. So, but we do need the Force of Negation to match with this. I'm trimming a second Nadu and a Daze because our opponent is on the play and they have a lot more like fast mana type stuff. Alright, we have a hand that does some interesting things. We can counter their spell, we can make some construct tokens, and then we can try and get Teferi going. We can also use the orange chant to make sure that our counter spell resolves. Oh, hello. We now have a combo as well. We just need some blue mana, which we should be able to find. Our deck is absolutely chock full of it. A tropical island. So our opponent is probably on Veil of Summer. I did see, I think it was our opponent once, playing a Green Sun Zenith package for Collector Reef in their Show and Tell deck, which I thought was pretty interesting. A Brainstorm. This is not where we're taking our fight. Ancient Tombs. This is Show and Tell mana. It feels like our opponent's going for a sneak attack line more than anything. Did not draw the blue source we wanted to. That's unfortunate. But we have a game plan. We can make our opponent fight over the orange chant. And we can kick it as well. So if they have a sneak attack, they can't fire it in us. Do we need to kick this? I will kick this. So we're just using this like a Veil of Summer right now. Maybe we're supposed to keep the Ponder and pitch Italio. I think I prefer that. Now I think about it for a second. What are we doing with this mana? I think we are making a friend here. This time if they Show and Tell, we can put in our Illusionist and maybe get to win the game. The opponent's got a lot of cards in hand though. Green mana. Idrisil. Sure. This is like, it mills you, if I remember rightly. When it enters, exile all creature cards from your graveyard, exile top 3 cards of your library, and then you can pay 4 to put a card in. So it's like Quicksilver Amulet. They have an Attract the next turn. A Grafdigger's Cage. Okay. Can we find a blue source? We can find a blue source. Let's get rid of this Grafdigger's Cage. And let's just play our friend. Alright, our opponent's scooping up, and that is the end of the league. So a pretty quick 3-2 there. I feel the Eldrazi matchup should be better for us than it looked from these rounds. Let me just go and pull up the data from Eternal Weekend and have a look at that. So if we look at the data from the Eternal Weekend Europe that's just gone, Nadu Breakfast against the Eldrazi Stomping Deck. Okay, it's 52, so it's a pretty even matchup. So I think going 0-4 in games is a little bit against type, but it's a perfectly winnable matchup by the looks of things. But, you know, they're going to have draws that are going to smash us, as you saw. Actually, if you look at the whole matchup of Nadu Breakfast, it's kind of interesting, where it's just lots of 50-50 matchups across the board, but then smashes the Mystic Forward combo. Pretty good against Death and Taxes, not surprise. The control, yeah, anyway. So yeah, this deck is really sweet. This is the deck that I've been telling people to play at Eternal Weekends for the last couple of Eternal Weekend tournaments. This and the Bant Nadu deck, which also put 2 copies into the top 8. I think this deck has to be on your radar. And with the bannings that we're expecting next week, I personally think Nadu should go. Whether or not Wizards of the Coast decide that's the case, I don't know. But I think Nadu and Psychic Frog and Vexing Bauble and probably Entomb are like the minimum 4 cards I think should go. You could replace Entomb with Troll of Khazad-dûm or something like that as well. But I think we need about 4 bannings, and then we need to see what things look like and be prepared to do more. So basically, I reckon you should play this deck while you still can, because I don't think Nadu has long left in this world of Legacy of ours, because it's miserable to resolve when it's doing its thing, and it's incredibly powerful too. It's just a very pushed design mistake that Wizards have admitted was a design mistake. So it's much in the vein of Skullclamp, where last minute changes completely ruined a card and a format. So yeah, deck is very sweet. Congratulations to Larsson for winning. It's quite a feat to win a tournament of this size. And big fan of the deck they chose to do it. As a Magic boomer, I've always been a big fan of Breakfast, even back in the day when it had to win with some slightly jankier things instead of Thassa's Oracle. Alright, I think that's us done for today. Please remember to like and subscribe, because we're going back into December tomorrow and you don't want to miss any of this wonderful action I've got planned for you. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo decks as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo decks guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.